All right, assalamu alaikum, family. This is another episode of Maryam Alima. What do you know about Islam? Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Today is September 17th, 2020, the 35th anniversary of September 17th, 1985, when our beautiful Minister Farrakhan, had his vision on the wheel with the messenger, and we have been rocking with that ever since. And thank Allah for that vision that he had, for bestowing that upon him so he can do the work and get the job done. I just watched the re-release of the Criterion, his July 4th address to the world. And oh, alhamdulillah, when it was amazing. They put, the Vanguard and the FOI in the beginning, and then at the end, literally had me in tears. This is not the subject for today, so I just have to get this out of the way. And it kind of correlates to what I was. Matter of fact, a lot of this stuff comes from the Criterion as well as some other things, and I'll get on into that in a second. But yes, at the end, when they showed the mother wheel and they showed the baby planes, oh my, I was bawling, because just to bear witness to the beauty of the time, to bear witness to truth. Just so thankful to Allah that I'm not, the people that's recording it, they keep saying UFOs, UFOs, UFOs. And it's like, my brothers, my sisters, they are not UFOs. They are identified. They are our people, the original people on the mother plane and the baby planes. They're people. They're not aliens. There is nothing mystic or, foreign, but just divine righteousness. Oh, and another thing is that I realized that, I don't believe that all the baby planes look alike, because my vision that I had last year, I can't even pinpoint when I had the vision. I'm very upset about it. And I just wrote in my journal about this, because it's insane that I write so much arbitrary things in my journal, and I did not document exactly when I had my vision. So in the vision that Allah bestowed upon me and I feel okay about sharing this. I only shared it with my daughter, my mother, and a brother from the mosque who always talks about the baby planes. And so I actually just recently texted him, because I'm trying to figure out, when did I have my vision? Because I don't know exactly when it was. It's in there. So anyhow, in my vision, I saw a plethora of baby planes. It wasn't all of them, because it was not 1,500. And now I know why it wasn't 1,500, because I don't believe that they all look alike. The ones that I saw in my vision, they looked like, it was a mixture. So if you go and look at the end of the Criterion, you're going to see these baby planes that kind of have like a dome on them. They look like a sphere laying flat, but then they also have this cone-shaped dome on the top, and slightly a curve underneath. I can't remember in my vision if I remember the protrusion underneath, but the dome part on the top, not like a rounded dome, but kind of like a cone-shaped dome, is very important, because those are the ones that I saw. And if you look at the end of the Criterion, all of them don't look like that. There's some that are just completely, kind of like, they kind of seem like they're just flat. But so mine was mixed in, so it looked like the one with the dome, but it also looked like the one which I believe might have been the mother wheel, but it looked like just this huge cloud. But you can tell it's like not a cloud. It's like, you look like a cloud, but you're not a cloud. And so it was a mixture of those. And so when I saw those, I don't know, I kind of just like popped into the vision. I don't really remember how it just kind of just was. And so I come out and I I see the baby planes, and I see everybody filing into ranks. And so I'm like, oh, I need to fall in line. So I'm kind of just like looking around, peeping the scene, like, oh, whoa, those are the baby planes. Oh, this is crazy. Like, oh, snap. I never seen them in person. And so I'm like, oh, wow. But I'm like, oh, I'm looking at everybody getting to ranks, like literally filing into ranks as we do when we are marching. And so I jump in, but then I look down and I see like my shoe untied. And so then I stop and I tie my shoe. But then, like, you know, you're not supposed to break ranks. When you in ranks, you're just supposed to be in ranks. And so when I stopped to tie my shoe, it's like Allah took me out of the vision or something. And I was kind of like, oh, snap. I'm breaking protocol. So I snapped back into attention and filed back in, and I kind of came back into the vision. That sounds so crazy, but that's kind of what happened. And I was like, oh, okay, so we're not playing. Okay, so when you're in ranks, you're in ranks. You can't play in ranks. Like, this is general orders in full effect. Like, this is what it is. If you're in the army of Allah, be in the army of Allah. Follow what you're supposed to be doing. Don't play when you're in ranks. And so that's kind of all. Well, so when I was, okay, so like we were marching towards the baby planes. And so I feel like I did speak about this. I don't know. I need to go back and look at my old podcast. So when we were marching towards the baby planes, and so when I was in the vision, I felt like we were going to get on the baby planes, but then after, you know, reflecting on the vision some time later, I was like, well, you know what? Maybe we weren't going to get on the baby planes. Maybe we were just going into the mission of wherever we had to go. But then that's it. That's all my vision was. But it's when I say I've never seen one in person, you know, I can't recall. I cannot recall ever seeing one in person. I just don't recall. Maybe I did. Maybe I don't know. But when I saw the ones, when I was looking at the end of the Criterion, and I saw the ones that I saw, I mean, it's kind of like your heart kind of just like, oh my gosh, that's the one that I saw in my vision. Like, that's literally what I saw. And it's crazy. It's like, oh, it's just such a blessing to have seen that. And so I was trying, last night, I was reflecting on what my vision could have meant. But then I was like, you know what? Why am I why am I trying to decipher it right now when we know that usually things don't get deciphered until it's absolutely time? So I'm kind of just gonna like let it be what it is, and when Allah is ready for me to really know what. And so basically, I will say this: I know that I need to be in line, making sure I'm doing what I need to be doing, and that's studying, praying, bearing witness, and everything like that. So that's what I'm doing. But if there's anything else within the vision that I'm supposed to see, I'll just wait until Allah reveals it to me. I'm not about to be sitting around for hours trying to, because you can, you know, like, I'm just not about to do it right now. Like, when it's time, it'll reveal itself. So that's that. All right, so the topic of today's discussion, and I was going back and forth between what I wanted to speak about, because one thing I don't want to do, I don't want to get on here and just be talking to talk. I want to be able to bring you something that can help you get a better understanding of something, that can help you think of something else. You know, I want it to be of benefit. If it's not a benefit and I'm just rambling, then cut it off. But today's topic of focus is seeking knowledge and entertaining falsehood. What brought about this topic was I wouldn't call it a lecture, was the conversation, the discourse between Dr. Wesley Muhammad and Rabbi Harry Rosenberg that recently took place last week. And it's so funny because Rabbi Rosenberg, he couldn't allow himself to even be open to the teachings because he's already in a locked place in mind of what he believes to be true. For most people that bear witness to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad have studied other teachings. They studied before they accepted truth or was blessed with the acceptance of truth. They could have come out of the church, could have came out of anything. And most people that nation babies, me, myself, and a lot of nation babies that I speak with, most of us, like we'll say we grew up saying that we believe and everything, but we really didn't understand what we were saying or even really know the knowledge of the teachings and to really bear witness to the truth of them until later in life. Like we really didn't understand. And so for us to bear witness to this truth is kind of, I don't know if I want to say ironic, but it's just funny because the rabbi, like, why are you unable to, which is the fact that I'm going to say entertain, because you're not entertaining the falsehood within these teachings there, because there's nothing but truth, but the fact that you entertain the falsehood of your perception of what you believe to be true, which unfortunately is falsehood. So you're really just entertaining falsehood anyhow. I want to pull an excerpt out of Message to the Black Man, and it is on page 15, the coming of God and the gathering together of his people. The messenger says, think over these things. We must get down to the facts so that we can recognize them when they are presented to us. But you never question the first teacher. Shouldn't we be fair about this? Let us go after this thing right. So for those Christians or people who don't subscribe to any religion or what may have you, and you come across the teachings and you push them to the side, you say, well, I don't even want to get into that because I don't know nothing about that. Or if you do subscribe to Christianity, how disrespectful to yourself to take the word over your slave master as your first teacher and not question anything that he gave to you. But when a black man, one of your people, brings you something, you then shun it immediately. Like, it makes no sense. It literally makes zero sense. It's funny, I was looking at a video on YouTube. Well, what brought it about was the minister brought up the pale horse in the criterion. And so I was like, oh, well, you know, I don't really know much about the four horsemen of the apocalypse. So let me just YouTube something. And so I YouTubed the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and the first video that came up describes the the white horse, the pale horse, as Jesus. Now, they say that the black horse is the rider of death. Literally the complete juxtaposition of what the minister says. The minister teaches us that the pale horse is the rider of death, which makes more sense because the black horse is holding the balance. He's here to balance things out. It's just so funny how they take everything, they literally just switch it around. They just switch it completely around. They tell you, and they love to change the meaning of words. Words that meant something 100 years ago mean something totally different now. Gay used to mean happy, but now you want to tell me that gay means homosexuality. Faggot used to mean a bundle of sticks, but now it means a gay man or a homosexual man. You mean to tell me that black means void, means nothing? That can't be true, because there is always matter in everything. Allah created himself out of triple darkness because there was matter out there for him to create himself and the universe. Black is the essence of everything. But if you take their definition, you will be lost. You will be completely lost. Any and everything that you come across, you must question it. You better question the teachings. So, like he said, let us go after this thing the right. let's go after this thing right. Go after it right. Question it, of course. Do your scientific analysis of it. And if what you are reading and learning about makes sense, then wouldn't it be the law? You just have to bear witness to the truth and what you read from these teachings. So many people, well, a lot of not just Christians, Muslims too, and probably Jews as well, believe that the rapture means that, like, God gonna take you up to the funny thing about the rapture, because even though that they most people believe that it means that, like, God's gonna come take your soul, or that he'll take, like, I guess, I mean, maybe your physical being and leave you, but I don't believe that they understand that it can mean that, okay, so we have the mother wheel and the baby planes. So yes, you could be taken up into the clouds on the baby planes and the mother plane. So in that context, it's literal within that. But if you don't bear witness to that truth, then you're thinking of something else. You're thinking that you literally gonna just be floating on a cloud in the sky. That's not gonna happen. We don't live on clouds. We don't live on clouds. So he's not going to do something other than that. That's not going to happen. It also means, so yes, it also means the mental. He will take your mind and put you in a different place. So two people can be in the bed. He'll take one and leave the other. He'll take your mind and place it with him and leave the other one lost. I don't know. I don't have too much knowledge over the rapture. So I don't want to go into too much depth into that, because then that would just be untruthful. We don't mix up truth with falsehood. Okay. But I do know that most people have the wrong interpretation of those scriptures. So back to Rabbi Rosenberg, when he was talking to Dr. Wesley, he couldn't get off of the, no, well, not really the notion, the teaching or the truth in the white man being the devil. And we are taught now that we don't really call the white man the devil, because any of us can become a devil because we have that brown germ within us. But the white man is for surely Satan. And now the minister teaches that the white man does have the capability to do right, because there is the essence of Allah within everything on this planet. So they have the capability to be righteous. They have to strive for righteousness, but they just don't, because most of the time, 9 times out of 10, they don't, because it's within their nature how they were grafted, why they were made, how they were made is of lies, deceit, evil, wickedness. So if you don't actively combat that, then you are only going to operate within your true nature. So, I mean, yes, you have the capability of not being a devil, but do you actively work at that? Only your works can say that. So to continue on with the discussion of seeking truth and entertaining falsehood, I understand that a lot of people may be apprehensive when it comes to divulging themselves into even reading the teachings, because they already know that we, the Nation of Islam, know and bear witness to the truth that Master Prophet Muhammad came to us, that Allah came to us in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad. So they tend to not be able to grasp that concept because they still haven't really questioned the first teacher. If it tells you in the Bible that he will come in a person, like he tells you, I'm coming back, the Son of Man. I mean, what did you think that meant? What do you think that means? If not, he will be a person in flesh and blood. And he tells you that the multitudes won't work. That's the other thing. He tells us that the multitudes won't recognize him. But the reason why we continue to say what we say, I myself am so thankful that to Allah that Minister Louis Farrakhan did not stop his works, because it took me so long to bear witness to truth. So the reason why I'm trying to do the little bit that I am doing is because inshallah you'll hear this and say, well, if you are not a believer, you'll say, well, okay, well, let me at least go read Message to the Black Man. Let me at least read it to see what the Muslims are over there talking about. Okay? When we say that Master Muhammad is Allah in person today, that's because the Creator, who was a man, Allah created everything in his image. So if it is his image, I don't know a hand that don't look like a hand. I don't know a hand that don't look like a hand. That's not a parable. That was literal. It was that was a literal thing that he was saying, teaching, gospel, whatever, what may have you. Yes, the Creator's body dies. We only have a certain extension of a period of time in this flesh. This flesh goes back into the earth and comes back as, something else. Everything feeds something into the earth, Once it goes into the earth, it's going to come back out as something else. But the mind of the Creator, the knowledge of the Creator, the knowledge of truth has to go throughout time to another conduit. So that's all Master Muhammad is a conduit who studied to ascertain the knowledge of truth, who continues to study, who praised himself because he's not, yet he bears witness to the Creator. He is the supreme being because he has supreme knowledge. Can you point out to anybody, anyone else that had a teaching like this before him? We know that there's different sects that have branched off and have taken the teachings and whatnot. So yes, you may have heard it outside of the Nation of Islam, but it came from the Nation of Islam. It came from Master Muhammad, who gave it to the messenger, who gave it to the people. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I don't want to be, we could continue to go on. I want to implore you to, one, if you've already bore witness to truth, you better keep studying. Continue to study, continue to pray, continue to bear witness and vocally bear witness so that others may seek knowledge and stop entertaining falsehood, as most do. And we need to make sure that even we as believers, when we seek knowledge. So I was watching, I decided to go and watch Savior's Day 1975. Now, as I was watching it, I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy, because Jesse Jackson was bearing witness to the messenger, and Muhammad, it's just so many people ended up becoming hypocrites. A hypocrite is someone who bore witness to the teachings and then denied them. Said, no, they don't believe that anymore. So, that really sucks. I pray to Allah that I never become a hypocrite. When I started practicing Sunni Islam and denounced the teachings, I never even understood the teachings. So I wasn't a hypocrite when I denounced them, because I didn't actually have I didn't understand what I was being taught. But once Allah blessed me to understand, I pray that I never lose the knowledge of understanding, and I just continue to grow within more understanding of the teachings. It's heavy when all around you is falsehood. It's heavy when everything that's given to you is a lie. Everything that this white man has given you is a lie. Mostly, actually, because you know what's funny is he'll actually give you some truth. Actually, if you look at some movies and whatnot, he sometimes does bear witness to truth. But if you don't know the truth, then you can't actually see it when he gives it to you. So that's the trick bag. That's a real trick bag. He'll mess around, give you truth, and you won't even know it because you don't know the truth. So you like, oh, you just think it's entertainment. So boy, crafty now. He's crafty. I pray that we all continue to seek knowledge. What I was saying to the believers was, even when we seek knowledge, I don't believe that we should even entertain the falsehood of people that once believed, and continue to take in, say if you go out and you watch videos of people that once bore witness and now are denouncing, don't feed on that. That's not you studying. That's not you studying. That's not you bearing witness. That's you now entertaining falsehood. Because if you are going to fill your mind with people denouncing the teachings, what make you think that your mind won't revert back when he tells you that you can turn hypocrite overnight? So whatever you feed your mind, that's usually what's going to be produced in front of you. So feed on truth. Feed on truth. Don't entertain falsehood. But to that, my brothers and sisters who have not borne witness to the truth in these teachings, I implore you to stop entertaining the falsehood of what you were taught just because your fathers and your mothers and your ancestors of the last 400, 500 years here, that's what they were taught. Y'all, we've been practicing this. Islam means to submit oneself to the will of Allah. That's what it means. That's all it means. So yes, black people have been practicing Islam since the black man was created. Okay? All right, so we are going to do a reading out of the Quran. We're going to let Allah guide us with that. We're going to just pray over it and ask Allah to give us something beautiful and something that we can use, right? Let's see. We are in chapter 11. Alhamdulillah to that, because we know that Master Prophet Muhammad started studying at age 11 and studied for 42 years before he made himself known to us in the wilderness of North America, July 4th, 1930. All right, Abraham and Lot. So this is chapter 11, Surah 11, Ayat 7. And certainly our messengers came to Abraham with good news. They said, "Peace, peace," said he. And he made no delay in bringing a roasted calf. But when he saw that their hands reached not to it, he mistrusted them and conceived fear of them. They said, "Fear not, we have been sent to Lot's people." And his wife was standing by, so she wondered. Then we gave her the good news of Isaac, and beyond Isaac, of Jacob. She said, "Oh wonder, shall I bear a son when I am an extremely old woman, and this my husband, an extremely old man? This is a wonderful thing indeed." They said, "Wonderest thou at Allah's commandment? The mercy of Allah and his blessings on you, O people of the house. Surely he is praised, glorious." So when when fear departed from Abraham and good news came to him, he began to plead with us for Lot's people. Surely Abraham was forbearing, tender-hearted, oft returning to Allah. O Abraham, cease from this. Surely the decree of thy Lord has gone forth, and there must come to them a chastisement that cannot be averted. And when our messengers came to Lot, he was grieved for them, and he was unable to protect them, and said, This is a distressful day. And his people came to him, as if driven on towards him, and they were used to doing the evil deeds before. He said, O my people, these are my daughters. They are pure for you. So guard against the punishment of Allah, and disgrace me not about my guests. Is there not among you any right-minded man? They said, Certainly thou knowest that we have no claim on thy daughters, and thou knowest what we desire. He said, Would that I had the power to repel you, whether I shall have recourse to a strong support. They said, O Lot, we are the messengers of thy Lord. They shall not reach thee. So travel with thy people for a part of the night, and let none of you turn back, except thy wife. Surely whatsoever befalls them shall befall her. Surely their appointed time is morning. Is not the morning nigh? So when our decree came to pass, we turned them upside down and rained on them stones, and as decreed, one after another, marked for punishment with thy Lord. And it is not far off from the wrongdoers. Alhamdulillah. Again, that was Surah 11, ayat 69. I said ayat 7. Astaghfirullah. I did not read ayat 7. I read ayat 69 through 83. It was section 7. Go back and read it again and see what Allah blesses you to, understand and get what revelation from that. I'm going to read and study that myself again. I will leave on this note that the messenger teachers taught us that, these scriptures in the Bible and the Quran, everything is 25% history, 75% prophecy. And the minister told us that the prophets can't be deemed prophets until what they prophesize is sealed. So if what they prophesize doesn't come to pass, then were they prophets? Do you truly believe in the prophets? Because if you truly believe in the prophets, then you will recognize the time that we are in. He said, after 400 years of servitude in the land that is not your own, I will come. Did he not? Have we not been here 400 years? 400 plus years? All right. Just bear with us now. That's all I'm going to say. If you say that you believe in the prophets of days old, and he told you this, and then you act like you can't recognize when you see this is the time to believe. He said he's going to read. I'm sorry. I know where I was closing out, but page 17 of Mr. the Black Man. He described, I asked him, who are you and what is your real name? He said, I am the one that the world has been expecting for the past 2,000 years. I said to him again, what is your name? He said, my name is Mahdi. I am God. I came to guide you into the right path that you may be successful and see the hereafter. He described the destruction of the world with bombs, poison gas, and finally with a fire that would consume and destroy everything of the present world. Now, is not California and most of the West Coast on fire? Are we not walking around with COVID-19? That's something that you can't even see, like a gas, something that's you can't catch. I'm just saying. All right. May Allah continue to bless us all with understanding and seeking out truth and casting out falsehood. Peace. Until next time.